I never expected things to get as bad as they did. But looking back, I should have known. I'm Natalie, 28 years old, and I've always had a complicated relationship with my family. Mostly, I've just stayed quiet, tried to keep the peace, and swallowed my frustration. But sometimes, silence is the worst option. I guess it all started with my sister, Jessica. We're 2 years apart, but we've never really clicked. From the moment we were old enough to understand competition, Jessica always seemed to be the golden child. I won't say it was outright favoritism, but it was favoritism. Our parents always showered her with praise, while I just got the "you're doing fine" treatment. It wasn't that they didn't care about me, but they just loved Jessica more. She was always the smart one, the talented one, the one who could do no wrong. I could never figure out why that was. We both grew up in the same house, got the same education, and had the same opportunities. But somehow, everything she did was amazing, and everything I did was, well, just okay. It didn't help that Jessica had this way of making herself look even better. She'd twist things to make it seem like I wasn't pulling my weight. Whenever I did something impressive, it wasn't acknowledged. But if Jessica did something even remotely good, it was like the heavens opened up. I was the one left in the shadows, forced to be okay with it because that's just the way it was. It got to the point where I stopped trying to impress them. Why bother? No matter what I did, it was never enough. So I retreated. I focused on my own projects, kept my head down, and tried to build a life for myself outside of the family's drama. That was until I got involved with the family business. It was a small company my parents started when I was a kid, a local marketing agency. I never really paid much attention to it growing up, but as I got older, I saw an opportunity to help out. I had experience in digital marketing and branding, and I figured it would be a good way to spend more time with the family, get some extra income, and maybe, just maybe, get some recognition for my skills. At first, things were going well. I was contributing ideas, building strategies, making things happen. My parents were still all over Jessica for some reason, but they did begin to show some appreciation for what I was bringing to the table. Slowly, the business began to grow, and I started to feel like I was finally making a difference. But Jessica wasn't about to let that happen. She had always been the one to insert herself at the center of attention, but now it was worse. I started noticing that whenever I brought up a new idea, she'd suddenly show up to offer her input. Then, mysteriously, my ideas started showing up under her name. At first, I brushed it off, thinking it was just a coincidence. But as time went on, it became painfully clear Jessica was taking credit for everything I did. It wasn't even subtle anymore. She'd repeat my ideas in front of our parents, acting like they were her own, and they would praise her endlessly. Meanwhile, I was left in the background, with them continuing to act like I was somehow lucky to even have a seat at the table. One day, after a particularly frustrating meeting where Jessica had claimed one of my marketing strategies as her own, I finally snapped. I confronted her in private. "Jessica, what is going on?" I asked, voice shaking with a mix of anger and exhaustion. "You've been taking credit for everything I've done at the business." She just shrugged like it was nothing. "Come on, Nat. You know I'm the one who knows how to make things work. You've never really been the business type." That was the moment I realized just how deep the favoritism ran. My own sister, the one who was supposed to have my back, was turning the screws just to get ahead. And it wasn't just her. My parents were right there with her, supporting her, encouraging her. Every effort I made, every project I worked on, they all went unnoticed. Jessica got all the praise, and I was just left to watch. And you know what? I'd had enough. I stopped helping with the business entirely. I didn't bring new ideas, didn't step in when there was a problem. I just walked away. At first, my parents didn't even notice. But slowly, the cracks began to show. The business started to decline. Clients weren't impressed with the work anymore. Leads dried up. And the worst part? Jessica had no idea what to do. She had always relied on me to do the actual work, but now that I wasn't there to clean up her mess, everything started to unravel. I sat back, watched it all fall apart, and didn't say a word. Then, about a month later, I got a text from my mom. It was short, blunt, and completely lacking in any sense of apology or understanding. "The mortgage is due. We need you to help." No, "Hi, how are you?" Or, "I'm sorry for how we've treated you." Just that. It was as if I was still the unpaid helper they had always taken for granted. I could feel the anger rising in me. My fingers hovered over my phone screen, and for a moment, I just stared at the message, thinking about how far they'd pushed me. How many years I'd spent doing everything they wanted, never once asking for anything in return. And now, They had the nerve to text me as if I owed them something? I didn't respond immediately. I thought about it. Maybe I'd give them a taste of what it felt like to be ignored. Maybe I'd make them work for it, just like they had made me work for their love and attention for all these years. After a few minutes, I simply typed, "Figure it out yourselves." Then, I hit send. I knew that text would get under their skin, but what I didn't expect was how far they'd go to try and manipulate me back into their lives. A few hours later, my phone rang. It was Jessica. I wasn't about to answer, but then I saw my mom calling right after her. Sighing, I picked up the phone. "Hello, Natalie. Where have you been?" My mom's voice sounded frantic, strained. "We need your help. Things are getting worse with the business." I didn't even let her finish. "I told you, figure it out yourselves." "But you don't understand," she begged. "We're drowning here, Natalie. We need you." My mom's desperation wasn't a surprise. What came next, though, was something I never could have expected. I heard Jessica's voice on the other end of the line, muffled at first, but then clearer as she took over from my mom. "Natalie, please, we can't do this without you," she said, her tone almost pleading. It was a side of her I'd never really heard before. The confident, self-assured Jessica was gone, replaced by someone who seemed genuinely desperate. "I know I've messed up. I know I've taken credit for your work, and I'm sorry. I was just trying to make everyone see me as good as you always were." Her voice wavered, and for a second, I almost believed her. Almost. "You're sorry," I repeated, my voice ice cold. "I don't think you are, Jessica. If you were, you would have stopped doing it a long time ago. But instead, you've just gotten worse." There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. Then, she spoke again, and this time, her voice was quieter, more resigned. I know I've been awful, but it's not just about the business. Mom and Dad, they don't even see it. They've been treating me like I'm the only one who can fix things, but I can't do it alone. I'm not good at it, Nat. I'm just pretending." I felt a slight pang of something I didn't want to name. Guilt, maybe. Empathy? No, I quickly shut that down. This wasn't about her struggles. It was about the years of being invisible, of being overlooked while she took all the credit. "So what? Now you need me to come save you?" I asked, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. "After everything, after you stole my ideas, my work, and my chance to make something of myself, you want me to just drop everything and help you out of your mess?" I could hear the desperation in her voice, and it made me almost sick to my stomach. "Please, Natalie, if you don't help, everything is going to fall apart. We're losing clients. Dad's talking about shutting the whole thing down, and I don't know what to do. We need your expertise, your ideas, your strategies." It was true that the business was in trouble, but part of me didn't want to admit that I felt any responsibility for it. I had walked away for a reason. They'd chosen Jessica, they'd ignored me, and now they were paying the price. The truth was, I didn't want to help them. Not because I didn't care, but because I was tired. Tired of being used. Tired of being the one they turned to when things went wrong, but never being recognized when things went right. I took a deep breath, trying to calm the rising anger. "You've had a month to figure things out without me," I said slowly. "If you couldn't manage the business without me, that's not my problem anymore. You can't just keep treating me like the backup plan." There was another pause, this one more uncomfortable than the last. Then, I heard my mom again. Her voice was softer now, almost like she was trying not to upset me further. "Natalie, please, don't do this to us. We're your family. You've always been so good at this stuff. We need you. We want you back." I closed my eyes, holding the phone tightly, trying to control the emotions bubbling up. They had always treated me like I was the backup, always put Jessica first, always assumed I would just be there when they needed me. But I wasn't a safety net. I wasn't someone they could discard and pick up whenever it was convenient. "You know," I said, my voice dangerously calm. "You want me back, but you never needed me until everything started to fall apart. I was invisible when everything was fine, but now that things are failing, I'm suddenly the only one who can fix it." There was a crack in her voice when she replied. "I didn't mean it like that, Nat. No," I interrupted. "You didn't mean it like that. I've been invisible to you for years, but now I'm supposed to drop everything and fix your mess. You don't get to do that to me anymore. I'm done." I didn't even give her the chance to respond before I hung up. The decision was final. It felt final. But even as I put my phone down, I couldn't help but feel the weight of everything that had just happened. I didn't want to admit it, but a small part of me did feel something. A little guilt, a little concern. It wasn't enough to make me go back, though. Not this time. But that night, things took an unexpected turn. I was sitting on my couch, scrolling through my phone, when I got another message, this time from an unknown number. It was from one of the business's clients. I opened it and felt a chill run down my spine when I read it. "We've decided to go with a different agency. Thanks for all your work over the past few years, but we don't think it's going to work out anymore." That was just one of the messages. Then came another, and another, and another. One by one, the clients were pulling out. And the worst part? It wasn't just the clients. Word was getting out. The business's reputation was taking a hit. People were starting to talk about how things were falling apart. The marketing strategies weren't working anymore. The vision my parents had was fading. I sat there, staring at the messages, a mix of satisfaction and regret swirling inside me. I had made my point. I had walked away. But as I watched everything unravel, the question lingered. How far was I willing to let this go? I couldn't deny that there was a part of me that felt a small, twisted sense of satisfaction watching the business unravel. I'd spent so many years working my butt off, only to have it all stolen and handed to Jessica. My work, my ideas, my energy, it had all been treated as if it was nothing. But now I was the one who was in control. But as the hours passed, I started to feel a familiar weight in the pit of my stomach. The regret, the uncertainty, those feelings I'd pushed away for so long were creeping back. Was I doing the right thing? Was I really going to watch my family fail because of my pride? I had to admit, the thought made me uneasy. The phone buzzed again. Another message. This time, it was from Dad. "Natalie, please. We've got clients leaving us. We're losing everything. Your mother and I don't know what to do." This wasn't supposed to happen. There it was, plain and simple. My parents, for all their complaints about me over the years, were now admitting they were in trouble. They needed me. But I couldn't help but wonder, was this just another plea for me to save them, only for them to go back to treating me like I was invisible once it was all fixed? It felt like the same story I'd heard before. They needed me, but only when things went wrong. And Jessica, well, Jessica was still nowhere to be found. I didn't respond to Dad's message. I couldn't. I was too angry, too bitter to just let it slide. But there was a small voice inside my head telling me to reconsider, to at least hear them out. They were family, after all, right? I spent the next few days in a haze, trying to focus on work and pushing all thoughts of the family business out of my mind. But they kept coming back. They always did. On the fourth day after I'd cut them off, my phone rang again. This time, it was Jessica. I thought about ignoring the call. I really did. But curiosity got the better of me. I picked up. "Natalie, please," she said, her voice trembling. "I can't do this without you. You've always been the one who made things work. You always knew how to fix things. I was stupid. I was selfish. I've ruined everything." For a moment, I almost believed her. The desperation in her voice, the vulnerability, it wasn't like her. I could hear the tears, and for a second, I thought maybe, just maybe, she really had changed. But then I remembered everything. All the years I'd been ignored, all the times I'd been made to feel like I wasn't good enough. And suddenly, all the pity in her voice felt like a game. Like she was trying to manipulate me into doing what she needed. "You ruined everything, Jessica," I said coldly. "You took credit for everything I did. You made me feel worthless in my own family. And now, you want me to fix it for you? Just like that." "I know I've made mistakes," she said, almost pleading. "But please, you're the only one who can save us. Please, Natalie. I know I don't deserve it, but I'm begging you. Help us. Help me." The silence stretched on, and for the first time, I wasn't sure what to say. On one hand, I wanted to just hang up and be done with it. But on the other hand, part of me wanted to believe she meant it. Part of me wanted to believe that there was still a chance for things to be different. But then I thought about everything they had said, everything they had done, and I felt the anger rise up again. It was so easy for them to act like they needed me now, but where were they when I needed them? Where were they when Jessica was running around taking credit for everything I did? "I'm done, Jessica," I said firmly. "You had your chance. You didn't want my help when I offered it. You didn't care when I was giving my all. Now you want me to drop everything and fix this mess? That's not how it works." "But, Natalie," she started to say. "No," I cut her off. "You don't get to do this. I've given enough. And I'm not going to be your safety net anymore. You've made your bed. Now you get to lie in it." I hung up before she could say anything more. The thing was, even though I had stood my ground, part of me still felt conflicted. Part of me still cared. I couldn't just shut them out completely, could I? As I stared at my phone, I knew I had to make a decision. If I went back now, if I helped them, they would never respect me. They would never see me as more than the person they could rely on when things went south. But if I didn't help, if I let everything collapse, how far would they be willing to go to drag me back in? The days passed slowly, and I tried to ignore the pit in my stomach that seemed to grow with every passing hour. Every time my phone buzzed, I braced myself for another message from my parents or Jessica, but I stayed firm. I refused to let them manipulate me again. The truth was out. I was done, but that didn't stop them from trying. It had been 6 days since I'd stopped responding to their messages, 6 days since I had stopped helping with the business. I thought that maybe, just maybe, they'd get the message. I thought I could move on and leave them to handle their mess. But I should have known better. It was a Tuesday afternoon when I got the first text. I had been sitting at my desk, working on some freelance projects, when my phone lit up. It was from my mom, which wasn't unusual, but this time there was no greeting. Just a message that sent a shiver down my spine. Natalie, we need your help. The bills are piling up. We can't keep this business afloat without you. I stared at the screen, heart pounding. The nerve of them. No apologies, no acknowledgement of the years of hard work I had done for that business, no recognition of how they had treated me. Just a desperate plea for help. I didn't know whether to laugh or scream. I took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. I wasn't going to fall for it. Not this time. I put my phone down and went back to my work, trying to focus, but my thoughts kept drifting. I thought about all the times my parents had dismissed my ideas, belittled my contributions, and praised Jessica for doing the bare minimum. The frustration had been building for years, but this felt different. This was the final straw. I didn't reply to the message. But then, just an hour later, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was Jessica. I'm sorry, okay? The message started. Please, Natalie, we need you. I'm trying to fix things here, but it's falling apart without you. Mom and Dad are freaking out. Please come back. I could already feel the tears in her words, but I wasn't buying it. I knew exactly what she was doing, using guilt to manipulate me into coming back. The same tactic she had used for years. She always knew how to pull at my heartstrings, make me feel responsible for everything. But I was done being the one who had to clean up after her. I put the phone down again, my hands shaking. I couldn't deny it. The urge to help, the pull to be there for my family, was strong. But I also knew that if I gave in now, nothing would change. They would just keep using me until there was nothing left of me. The rest of the day was quiet, but the tension in my chest wouldn't go away. It felt like I was on the edge of something, like I was holding my breath waiting for the next bombshell to drop. The following morning, I got another message, this time from my dad. It was short and blunt. We can't do this without you. You're the only one who can save the business. Don't be selfish. That was the moment I finally snapped. Selfish? After everything they had put me through? They had ignored me, belittled my efforts, and now they were calling me selfish? The audacity. The nerve. I picked up my phone and called Jessica. She picked up on the first ring, her voice frantic. Natalie, please, enough. I interrupted. I'm done. You and Dad have made it clear where your priorities lie, and I'm not part of that anymore. I can't keep fixing your messes. There was a long pause on the other end. Then Jessica's voice cracked. We didn't mean to hurt you, Nat. We didn't realize you didn't realize. I said, my voice rising. You never cared. You only cared about the business, about looking good, and about pretending like you didn't need anyone. You used me, Jessica. You used me to make everything look perfect while you got all the credit. And now that it's falling apart, you want me to come in and clean it up. Her silence was deafening. I'm sorry, but I can't do this anymore, I said, my voice trembling with a mix of anger and hurt. I'm not your backup plan anymore. I hung up before she could say anything more, my hands trembling. I had said the words I'd been holding in for years, but now there was this hollow feeling inside me. A part of me wanted to pick up the phone and call her back, apologize for being so harsh. But I knew it wouldn't do any good. It was too late for that. I walked away from my desk and stood by the window, staring out at the city below. Everything was changing. The family business, my relationship with Jessica, my relationship with my parents, it was all slipping away, and I couldn't do anything to stop it. A few hours later, my phone buzzed again, but this time it was a voicemail from my mom. Please, Natalie, you don't understand. We're going to lose everything if you don't help us. We don't know what to do. The bills are overdue, and we're about to lose the house. Your father is a wreck. He's been lying to us about the money, and I don't know how to fix this. We need you. Please come back." The desperation in her voice sent a pang through my chest, but I couldn't ignore what I had learned. I couldn't keep pretending that everything was fine, that I was okay with being the one who always picked up the pieces. I listened to the voicemail again, then again, then again. My mother's voice was full of fear and panic, but I wasn't sure what to feel anymore. Was this just another manipulation? Or was it real? I didn't reply. Eventually, the inevitable happened. Without my help, the business started falling apart. Clients pulled away, unpaid bills piled up, and the staff began leaving one by one. It wasn't long before the creditors came knocking, and my parents, desperate and overwhelmed, had to shut it all down. The business I had helped build, the one they had taken for granted, was gone. I kept my distance, watching from afar as everything crumbled. Jessica reached out one last time, but by then, I had no more energy to give. The damage had been done. So, what now? My parents have lost everything, and Jessica, well, she's still trying to piece things together, but I don't think she really understands why I couldn't help anymore. Maybe I was too harsh, or maybe I did the right thing by standing my ground. What do you guys think? Was I too quick to walk away? Or did I do the right thing by letting them face the consequences of their actions? Would love to hear your thoughts.